there's a fundamental emptiness in every human that is not fulfilling their mission and their vision, regardless of the material comfort. Okay, I'm telling you, sir, that if you go to our mental homes, the psychiatric, it is there. Sir, rich people are depressed. They are committing suicide. Why is that? There's money in the bank, yet they are depressed. Now, what happens is that your spirit is crying for expression.
There are many people who do not know their purpose, and therefore they try to live the life of other people.
Thank you.
While you are living the life of other people, there are consequences of that. Anyway, we'll come to that later. But why are people not able to find their purpose?
One, do the research. The content of most suicide notes, they said, I have no reason to live. And that means that purpose, that is purpose. Why are we here? What is the reason for our existence? Now, when purpose is seen in picture, that is vision. I will say it again. Purpose seen in picture is vision. Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Oluwafemi Esan. I'm a professor of transpersonal psychology and a professor of biblical psychology. I'm the pioneer of Errol London Academy and also Errol London University. And I'm a professional transpersonal psychologist and also therapist. I'm also a professional coach. I specialize in coaching and mentoring in education and leadership and organizational coaching. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Professor Oluwafemi. This conversation is important because it's actually derived from several other episodes that we have done with you, where we have touched on the importance of mission and vision and all of what is important about our life, because our life is supposed to mean something. We don't just want to run around just clicking and taking on tasks. But if we know why we are doing that within certain characteristics and value within them, it can all make more sense for us. Even though maybe sometimes we might also face some challenges, but at least we know why we are doing this. This is going to be very important. So this is why this conversation, I think it is important for us. Now, I don't know if you want to go back to a part that we already have discussed when we talk about Ifa theology, because I have made a reference to it a number of occasions. Do you want to touch on that a bit, looking at the importance of having a mission or vision in life?
Okay, thank you so much. I remember that when we had that interview, we look at Ifa theology and how the concept of predestination, that I did a comparative analysis between Ifa theology, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, the Abrahamic religion. What I found in my research is that the three Abrahamic religion and Ifa theology, they all believe in the concept of predestination. And what that simply means is that there is a destination that was determined in eternity before time began. And so in Ifa theology, when a child is born, also in Judaism, on the 8th day or on the 7th day, they will go and consult the oracle to ask specifically, what has this child come to do on this planet? And that is, what is the purpose? What is the mission? What is the assignment of this child? And that for us in transpersonal psychology and biblical psychology, that is the foundation of vision and mission in life.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And also in that particular episode when we were talking about the Ifa theology, you did make mention of something that I think I've like to make a reference to on a number of occasions, because I find it to be important. Okay, now why I find that to be important is that now I am creating a signature program for everything that I'm doing within Obehi Podcast and storytelling. And the essence of it is to help people find their voice, their story, so that they can then use it to sort of differentiate themselves wherever they find, wherever they might be operating from, whether in the area of business or in their professional life. Because if you don't know your story or your core value, as it were, you will always be competing with other people and even sometimes be struggling with other people in their own lane. You know, it's like when you are in the relay, you know, you are in the Olympics, you know, there is a line that you are supposed to run from the beginning to the end of
Yeah.
it. If you jump into the line of another person, you are going to struggle with the person. But if you are on your line, you will struggle only with yourself, with how fast you can run in your own lane. So I think this is what storytelling can do for us. And this is why it is important that we understand this
Is
fundamental, this base is very important. So then you made
yes.
mention of the fact that even when you know your mission or your assignment in this world, it is not for
Yes.
you. Tell me more about that. People want to understand that, you know, go find our mission, but that mission is not for you. That is important. Please share
Yeah.
something in that line.
I mean, thank you about that question. The analogy, I will use the analogy that late Dr. Miles Monroe used, is about the mango tree. And the question he asks is that, have you ever seen a mango tree eating its own mango? No. The gift of the mango tree is the mango fruit. That analogy is the same with every human. Divinity, God, whatever concept you want to say it, have sent every one of us to this planet with a gift. And that gift is a fruit that we are meant to serve humanity. So your mission is not for self-preservation. Your mission is to serve your gift and talent to fulfill your purpose and then bring this beauty, what we call self-manifestation, releasing your hidden self and begin to use it to solve problems for humanity. So your mission is for humanity, not just for yourself.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Okay. We just started now looking at taking a cue from the Yoruba tradition or the Ifa theology, as it were. Then, of course, you make comparison with other important religions that we have today, like Islam and Christianity. All of them, of course, within the branch that we might describe as spirituality. Now, is it the only way we can understand the mission in life? Or maybe somebody might say, well, I'm not a spiritual or I don't believe in those things. Is it so important that this individual understand the importance of mission in life? Now, I'm just sort of putting the question like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because as you know, that by the grace of God, I'm involved into transpersonal mental health. And by the grace of God, we pioneered the first transpersonal mental health. What we find out, the World Health Organization predicted that by 2030, the number one health issue in the whole world, both developed world and developing world, is going to be depression. And then when you look at depression, the root cause of depression is hopelessness. That's it. Hopelessness. And what brings hope is your vision. When a man has a vision of the future, you begin to have hope. What happens is that vision births hope. And that vision is not a mental concussion of your future. That vision is coming from your higher self, from your spiritual self, what you are here to do. And so therefore, it has nothing to do with any religion or whether I believe in spirituality or not. You are here to fulfill a purpose. And that emptiness will be there if you are not living that vision. Thank you.
Right. Now, that also is very important, now, particularly for our demography, which is the African diaspora, or let's just say the African descent, people of African descent, who sometimes might think that, okay, you know, if you get to Europe or if you get to the Western world, then you get into the greener pasture, as it were, no? That you have life, everything is here and all of that. That is the vision that we have before we get here. Only that when we get to Europe, now we understand that it's not really like that, no? There is also a lot of suffering. People are suffering here in Europe. And this has nothing to do with where you come from. It is just part of life, you know? So because you are making reference to, let's call it the Euro-Western society, where a lot of people are suffering from depression. Could you help us understand that? So that I'm saying that so that people can understand that life is not, there is no part in this world where you have everything.
Yeah, thank you. Now, if you look at the Western world, as I said, we coming from the Africa, mostly they call us economic immigrant. Okay, we came here to look for greener pasture. However, there's a fundamental emptiness in every human that is not fulfilling their mission and their vision, regardless of the material comfort. Okay, I'm telling you, sir, that if you go to our mental homes and the psychiatric, it is there. Sir, rich people are depressed. They are committing suicide. Why is that? There's money in the bank, yet they are depressed. Now, what happened is that your spirit is crying for expression. Your spirit understand understand I'm here on a mission. And when that mission is not fulfilled, you will now experience that depression, and life and material things has no meaning, because material comfort cannot fill the void of your spirit mission. You are here on a mission. Until you align yourself to that mission, then that is when you find a sense of personal meaning in the mundane things of life.
I'm taking some moment to reflect on that, because there is something to actually take out from there. It's something that I've really reflect on a couple of occasions that I'm going to ask you. If we take the roll call of people that are actually committing suicide, I am very positive that we will have very few poor people, if we will even have any in the list. Which is to say, now we have people that are even millionaire. They have a lot of money, like you said, material wealth, but yet they decide to commit suicide. But what is even suicide? You get to the point that you don't see any value to your life. Because if you have value to your life, somebody say you want to kill you, you will struggle. No, you cannot. No, you cannot take my life. Take everything. In Nigeria, they will say your life or your money, because you want to save you are the one that make the money. You can make the money again. But if you are the one who have no value for your life, if you are very close to the bridge, you want to jump down, somebody want to push you, you would not even resist, because you don't see any sense in life. Yeah. So the curiosity there I'm trying to see is, where are we really losing it to the point that we might have everything, because we think that having a lot of money, a lot of cars, a lot of building is what it is. But we come down, we even want to die now and leave everything, because they don't fulfill a part of us that is actually the most essential. Help me with that.
Thank you so much. You have introduced a very important concept. Okay. Now, and may I even say to you that research shows that most suicide notes has one common theme, and the theme is that I have no reason to live. Go and do the research. The content of most suicide notes, they'll say, I have no reason to live. And that means that purpose, that is purpose. Why are we here? What is the reason for our existence? Now, when purpose is seen in picture, that is vision. I will say it again. Purpose seen in picture is vision. And that is when you embark on that vision. Now, may I say, from the transpersonal and biblical perspective, vision of a purpose is purely spiritual, sir. It is your spirit man, your hey, that has that vision. Vision is not a concoction of ambition that is coming from your mental picture of a better life. No, it is purely spiritual, and that is where we are missing it. To have mission and vision is a spiritual experience, and it's a spiritual phenomenon.
We can never be tired of this. This is going to be very, very important. It's very important for me and for the entire message that I am actually presenting here in Obehi Podcast. Now, I am thinking that this that you have said, which is the fact that the mission is spiritual, I think it is actually fundamentally true. And this is how I come to understand it, that we are doing something. We might be doing a lot of things that we think, okay, I haven't benefited the reward myself personally, no? Therefore, there is no sense to that. I say to people who have this idea that, no, you don't need to look at it like that. You need to look at life as a huge and extended line of connection where you are just playing a small role in it. So even if you are not benefiting from it personally, what you are doing is still important. Let me give a practical example. When I came to Verona in the August of 2004, I was asking the question, how come I can't pick up a book to read about people of Africa that are living in the city of Verona? Well, that might appear like I'm looking at it as something that I can benefit personally. Because I didn't see that, I decided to write it. I've written the book, but somebody might ask, but your book is not a bestseller. We don't see it everywhere. Well, this is the answer to the person. It is not about me as an individual. It's about us as all of us. In that I might even die. I might not benefit a lot from that book. But what if somebody else come and pick it up and find the value in it? That is, I'm still successful in that. But how do I even come to being able to see that beyond just me, a single me? I've got to understand it like you are saying, that it is a spiritual journey that
Yes.
The seed that I'm planting is not just about me, that I'm going to eat it and I end it. It's not about me. I am participating in this universal journey where all of us are adding value to all of us. Now, I think I've made mention of this before. I was interviewing an assistant professor in US talking about Africa and African identity. And he said to me something I found very, very fundamentally important, that our identity as a people, of course, seen from an African perspective, is that you as an individual, you are connected to what have happened before. Therefore, your ancestors. These are it's basically talking about who are you, talking of personhood. And when you understand that, which is looking back, they look at what you are and they look into the future, that even the unborn are part of who you are. And if we understand this is what it is, it means that even though my book has not become a bestseller today, if people in the future are going to be able to find value in it, I am still successful because it has never been about me. It has been about us. The only way I can be a failure is that if there is nobody, even in 500 years from now, that can benefit from that. So I think it is important that we understand what you are saying, that it is spiritual. It is not just physical. It's not just about me, just no, I eat it. No, it's not about me.
I mean, what you're saying, now I will go deep now.
Please go.
Where does life start? Or the origin of existence. That is the foundation. The origin of the existence does not start in time. From the pre-existence theory, man existed in eternity in God by the philosophy of Christianism and the Ifa theology, and all the three Abraham religion subscribe to that concept of pre-existence. Now the question is, while we are there, we have to talk about your origin. If you don't know your origin, you don't know your identity. And your identity controls your mentality, and your mentality controls your ability. So there is origin, identity, mentality, ability. But the foundation is origin. Where are you from? That's a question. Now, according to the philosophy of transpersonal psychology, biblical psychology, we are from eternity, we are in time, and when we finish the assignment, we go back to eternity. So from eternity to time and back to eternity. Now, the question now is, why was time created? According to biblical philosophy, time was created for purpose and mission and vision to be fulfilled. That is the essence of time. And if you exist in time, and if you don't understand that concept, then you will be frustrated because there is eternity in your spirit crying for expression. And that's where we are.
I wanted to spend some time on that expression. It is important for us again. Okay, I know, of course, you have a very big background in philosophy, and that also is important for us because sometimes people think everything is self-explanatory. No, it is not self-explanatory. We need time to be able to explain even these. I sort of think that the best way to celebrate life is to live. Just live, because as you are living, you are celebrating it. I take that looking at the flower, that the best way that flower can celebrate life is to be flower. Just be you. Just do what you are supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Please go on that.
When you said that flower, the flower is a gift to humanity. Now, the principle is that every human being on this planet, regardless of their belief system, their color, their race, you are a gift to humanity. There is a gift and talent within you that the higher power have sent you to express. Okay, and that's what we call the principle of self-manifestation. Now, what is happening is that it is said that 98% of humanity will die without expressing who they are. So people came to this world, they never show up. We don't know them.
That is powerful again. Which means now, okay, I want to go back to the last episode, the video that I actually published 2 or 3 days ago, where we were talking about an experience that you had, where you have double open heart intervention, and also my experience where I have a medically induced coma for 2 weeks. Now, I told you the experience that I had, that I was exposed to everything that is natural, that is crude, no? But it remained crude. But if I want it to be something else, I need to transform it, because I think life is just essentially about transformation. Everything that is around us is the way it naturally is. If we do nothing with it, it remains the way it is. Nothing is going to happen until we trouble it. If we trouble it, then we transform it. The energy, for example, the energy of electricity, everything that is needed to create the electricity is already here. If we don't do anything about it, it's still going to be here. It's not going to change. Because nature have nothing to lose. It is on us. Maybe, for example, say we take that argument to Nigeria, for example. You are coming from Nigeria, I'm coming from Nigeria. We know that we have a problem in Nigeria, that in 2024, the people of Nigeria, more than 220 million people,
over 200 million,
are still in darkness. And of course, our politicians are happy about it because they have their generator. But let's say they come to the consciousness that, oh, there are people who should not be in darkness. Let's find a solution. The resources they need to find a solution is already within Nigeria. They don't even need to go anywhere. They don't need to go. And what they need to do is to tap their conscious, the mind, to use what they have so that they can get what they want. Nature provides everything for you. If you do nothing about it, nature is still going to be there. It's not going to lose.
What is it say? It said that when God made the tree, he hid the table and the chair in the tree. What happened to man? Man has to use his creative power to figure out there is a table in that tree. There is a table in that tree. There is a chair in that tree. I can carve out that tree. Now, that is where creativity comes in, sir. As you said clearly, the resources are there, but man has been blocked because man is operating in a survival mode just to meet his need. Therefore, the creativity of man has not been unleashed because man is preoccupied by meeting his basic needs. That is where the problem lies. We operate in a survival mode, in a consumer mentality, downward investment, especially in the third world.
Well, when are we supposed to break that cycle? Is it when we understand that we have? But I think this is fundamentally important, knowing that there is a reason why you are here. You know, now you talk of the Ifa theology. There was a reason I wanted you to go there because it is important. Because now we're not talking of, okay, before you can understand it, you first of all need to go to Harvard University. No. Everything you need to understand what we are talking about here is within you, wherever you find yourself. All you need to know, like Professor Oluwafemi have said, is to ask yourself, where are you coming from? I understand it's going to my Esan tradition because I'm coming from Esan, south of Nigeria. I have talked about the question of Ehi before. I understand this because I grew up there. I know the tradition. I know that my life does not end here. I know this because I know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I think these are fundamental. If we know this, it means what we are doing should reflect the life that we are part of. Now, this is my contribution that I'm making. I am recording the people I can reach so that it can be available for people to benefit from. Now, there is an ulterior motive to this. I was in primary 2 when I lost my father. I never really have the chance to, look up to my father because I finished his secondary school and all of that and go to meet him and talk to him. That for me is a loss. Because today, I cannot take a picture of my father and really look at, like in a clear picture of him. My father was not born.
It's interesting you said that. We have many things in common. I lost my father when I was 1 year old.
Okay.
So I had no memory of my father. I was raised by my mother. Do you see that? So we have that in common. And there is a loss, there's a trauma in our spirit because of his absence. However, you are able to transcend the limitation of that trauma when you have spiritual enlightenment. That's it. When you went through the coma, when you were in coma for 2 weeks, that was when you had your spiritual enlightenment that break the limitation of the trauma of the loss of your father.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And this is why I think we should find we should find love in what we are doing. That what we are doing is more than in itself. It is not just for itself, and that is where it ends. No. I am trying to make sure that other people that grew up, they can, you see, Professor Oluwafemi, the recording that we are doing now, people are going to look at this 500 years from now. Your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren are going to have access to it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to have access to this of my father too, of the people in my community. You see, I have interviewed some people in my village who have made mention of other important personality, but that is where it ends. Nothing go beyond that. So, but we have made a lot of complaint, but why nobody did that? Now I'm saying, but why should I have to say that when I can do it? So now I am doing it. I am making record intentionally, just talking about this, and I'm hoping, and of course I know that somebody's going to benefit from that. That is my contribution.
But that is your mission.
That is my mission.
That's your mission. That is your mission. You find your mission. Obehi Podcast is your mission. That is your assignment, sir. And that's why you are doing this. That's why the idea came from your spirit to your mind that I should do this. And remember you said it in the last recording. You said second chance. Second chance. Why? You must see what happened after the coma experience, that you had a renewed sense of purpose. A renewed sense of purpose and destiny. That all of a sudden, Mr. Obi realized, I'm here for a reason. This podcast, this journalism that I study, has to do with my gift that I have to give to humanity. And that's what you are doing, sir.
Thank you so much for that. But I believe that a lot of people should really be able to do this. Of course, I'm not saying everybody should be doing podcasts. If everybody were doing podcasts, it would be shortchanging ourselves too. Because we need a lot of things. We need people who should go into the medicine. We need people who should, Now, let me say something here. Because, of course, I believe that in my later years, I probably will return to Nigeria and do more of this work. Now,
No problem.
This is one lacuna that I found, in that many people of African descent, when they go into the forest, they are lost. This is what I mean by being lost. Either they don't know the name of the plant. Okay, but somebody might ask, do we really need to? Of course we need to, because if you don't even know the name of the plant, how do you know what that plant can do for you?
I'll do for you, exactly.
In the time past, people knew the name of the plants, and they also know how to crossbreed them, how to put the element of this plant and put the element of this plant and make it together, and it will work for you. Like I said again, all the elements, all the information are there. If you don't take the time to know even the name of the plant, the leaf, if you plug a particular leaf in our village and call somebody and say, what is it? Where is this coming from? The people don't know. My grandmother, because I grew up with my grandmother, when you are sick of fever or any type of sickness, she will go into the forest. She will do a combination of maybe up to 50 different leaves. She will bring it, she will boil it, and by the time you drink it, you will feel sweat. The fever is gone.
I mean, of course, yes, because they live within the the ecosystem of nature, and they understand the importance and the benefit of nature. Is a knowledge form, but the sad reality is that knowledge has not been able to carry out to the next generation because of lack of recording and training, and also putting it in a formal way. Okay, so it's just through the oral tradition, and then many of these knowledge are lost. Again, someone may wake up tomorrow and find out that that is my purpose. I'm called to that very field, and that's what we're talking about. There's somebody there that is their purpose. they will go back, and all of a sudden they start having enlightenment about those knowledge, and then they bring it into natural medicine. That's it. Because purpose is diversified. There are different purposes that people have in life.
Thank you so much for that. That is very important. Now, let's talk on the question of why people don't have purpose. Because, like you said, there are many people who do not know their purpose, and therefore they try to live the life of other people.
Thank you.
While you are living the life of other people, there are consequences of that. Anyway, we'll come to that later. But why are people not able to find their purpose?
Thank you, sir. I mean, you asked a very fundamental question. I'm coming from the Christian background, and I'm not ashamed of that, okay? It is shocking, sir. If you ask 10 people within the religion that I practice, just 10 people, that why are you here? Have you found your personal sense of purpose? It will shock you that 98% they don't know. And they are experimenting with their lives, even within the field of religion. Not to talk about the secular world. So you now see that the question of finding a personal sense of meaning is not just religious, it is humanity problem. It's a problem with humanity. Why are we here? Now, I said it earlier in today's interview that man is preoccupied for survival. 98% of our activity is based on meeting our legitimate, now I use that word legitimate need. But the question is, there is more to life than meeting your need. Because when those needs are met, are you fulfilled? That's the question.
All right. Let's go back again in time. We are going back again to Ifa theology, no? We are doing this intentionally so that people can understand that the basis have already been there actually. Because when people often say that it takes a village to raise a child, it's from this philosophy that when this child is born at 7 or 8 years, the people, the elder gathered and consult oracle to find the mission of this child. It's because they believe that it is their responsibility to contribute to this life. In my place, among some people, it is said that I more well in the sense that you cannot tell the child now you know. In the sense that maybe the child is doing what is wrong, you say, okay, now you know what you can become what you want to become. In the sense of not taking responsibility of straightening this child so that it can become a good child. And they also say, because if you do that, when this child turns to be a bad person, it affects everybody.
Of course.
Therefore, it is good that we all take responsibility of making sure that this child become a good child. So the idea is, where is this fundamental idea coming from that we all need to participate in helping the individual find a purpose?
Yes, it's a value system, my brother. It's a value system that's coming from a communal sense of responsibility. So we're talking about the purpose, but when you talk about the concept of purpose, there is individual finding your purpose, and there is also national purpose, and there is also community purpose. Why is that community existing? What is the purpose for existing of that community? And so the elders within that community, they have the spiritual understanding that this very community is established by our forefathers based on a purpose. And then from that understanding of that purpose for the establishment, whoever established that community, they understand that the person, the pioneer, the progenitor of that community has some value system, has a mission. So when you look at the history of African community, it is always a person that went to establish that very town. And most of the time, they have a spiritual awareness before they go and settle in a geographical place. And then they know that, oh, destiny brought me to this land. There's a reason I'm on this land. And that's why the sense of communal purpose comes in.
But what was the best way to sort of conserve that tradition so that it can be available for many years to come? Because what I found now is that, okay, this might have different approaches to it, in that if Africans, or if maybe this traditional African system have never been broken, They will not have the need to take their knowledge and send it somewhere because they don't need to teach other people. It is among them, so they are able to live and make sure that the tradition is passed on from generation to generation. But now we are missing up all the time. Therefore, there is a problem for us to be able to find a trace of what is happening to us. And because of this, we are lost. And we are suffering the consequences of that loss. I was making mention of, for example, of not knowing the name of the plant anymore in the forest. Because if you don't know the name, COVID-19 came the other day, everybody was running helter-skelter. In Africa, at least in many parts of Africa, there was no problem. They know how to consult the plant. They know the type of plant to consult, and remedies will come naturally. But that knowledge, how are we able to have it so that we can have access to it all the time?
Yeah, I mean, you know it. You know what happened. Colonization came. And what is the goal of colonization? Is to destroy your indigenous psychology and your indigenous knowledge and ideology. That's it. And we have lost that. Okay? Because we now have a colonized mentality from a colonized curriculum that if it is not white, it is not right. So even those knowledge existed, to us in Africa, we still look at it, we look down on those knowledge as being primitive and it's not westernized. That is the problem, sir.
We ever recover this knowledge so that it can be useful for us? Because now we live in a perilous time, no, where we are lost. And of course, to the metropole, the system that set it up, it is good for them that we are lost, no? But it is not good for us that we are lost. Can we find?
That's why we're talking about emancipation. Okay, we are talking about decolonization of the curriculum. You see, sir. Bob Marley said it. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. He said nobody will do it for you. Okay, so we are talking about going back to our indigenous psychology, and that's one of the vision of Harrow London University. We are an indigenous university. So going back, embracing our cultural diversity, our cultural identity. You are from Esan. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm proud to be a Yoruba man. Why? God chose me to be a Yoruba man. It is part of my purpose. I did not choose my mother and my father. That was God's choice. In fact, may I even say to you that purpose determines the womb where you are born.
All right. Now, let's say there is this particular man or woman who finds himself maybe in London or in New York who have grown but haven't had the chance to be able to find this deeper meaning to life, because that is what we are doing. That is what my signature program is about. Your life, your bubble, be trying to do this and do that and do that. You are not going to be happy if you don't know why you are doing it. When you look at our demography, which is the African diaspora demography, there are a lot of people that are suffering from the. Okay, we also understand the heritage, this slavery and all of that. There will be a deliberate attempt to wipe out your history. We know that. So to this individual and the children of this individual who are suffering from this situation, where should they start from in trying to know the deeper meaning to the essence of their existence?
Thank you so much. That's a beautiful question. Now, I will go back as a philosopher, education philosopher. What is the philosophy of our education? You see that the education is what? Colonize. I said the other day about the transpersonal education philosophy that is built on a spiritual framework. Now, the question is, regardless of where you are a spirit. The discovery of your spiritual identity is the beginning of your emancipation and your liberation.
All right. So how should people embark on this discovery? Where should they start from?
What you are doing right now, is beautiful. We need knowledge. Okay. We need knowledge. We also need a curriculum that is built on spiritual framework. And this is not just for people that are in the diaspora. This is a global crisis. Humanity is suffering from crisis of identity. We are operating on a materialistic reality, the embodied self. Okay, so we need an educational approach, an educational philosophy, a curriculum that is built on what? Spiritual framework that says that man is a spirit. He has a soul. He lives in a body. Now, when I understand my spiritual life, and I'm conscious of my spiritual identity, then I begin to tap into my spiritual ability to uncover, to unveil my hidden potential. Because my future is not ahead of me. My future is within me.
All right, Matt. Say hypothetically, we are setting up this university, like your university, for example, in London, and you want to be able to tap also the sources, because when you are talking about indigenous knowledge, I believe that you are looking at the entire world itself, but you're also looking at your origin, which is where you are coming from. In this case, Yoruba in Nigeria or Africa. But since you are in London, how are you able to make this connection to this indigenous knowledge? Because you are not merely concerned of the research that is done in Oxford now. You are indigenous because you are looking at the ground, the root, the source. How would you go about that, or how should you go about that?
I mean, fantastic. Now, last year, I had a group. I teach child psychology. So I had a group of teachers from Eswatini. And the one I said to them, look at the content of this child psychology curriculum. This curriculum is a Eurocentric curriculum that is based on a child that is born in Europe. Now the question is, I said, how can this curriculum be relevant to a child that is born in Eswatini? Because the whole research about this curriculum was based on a child that is born in Europe. For a child that is born in what? Eswatini is different. So what do we need? We need what is called indigenization, bringing a Western concept and making it to what? Indigenous. And that is what's called indigenous psychology. That's the way forward.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. That is interesting. I remember also that the last time you were talking with the Zimbabwe ambassador to London, you were already making a kind of a proposal. Both of you were talking of what could be the possible way of working together in this line, right? Looking at the situation of Eswatini or Zimbabwe or so many other countries in Africa, how do you see the interests of the local people in being able to embrace this new way of life? Because not everybody want to embrace it, because if people are benefiting from the corruption, for example, or from where everybody is a slave to the masters, they are fine because they are benefiting from it. But of course, we need people to embrace it, because you are going to change things. You are going to do things differently. To do things differently, not everybody want to appreciate that. So how do you see people embracing this new approach to education or emancipation, as it were?
You see, the beauty of indigenous psychology and indigenization of Western concept. Now, let's set this record straight here. There's nothing wrong in Western concept and Western ideology. In fact, as you see from the Industrial Revolution, the world has become a better place from Industrial Revolution. And we can see that the advancement in technology from the Western world has been a global benefit to the entire human race. However, we now need a contextualization of the curriculum. So bringing a Western concept within the fabric of my indigenous psychology. That is, if you are going to serve me a tea in my Western, in my indigenous culture. So it is not something new, sir. It is embracing our indigenous culture. For example, and that goes with your pedagogical approach. So we are training teachers on how to bring a Western concept to be relevant to a child that is born in the Swatini, a child that is born in Esan, a child that is born in Elisha. Bringing that concept within the fabric of our indigenous value system. That is what we're doing.
I wanted to go back to what you said a number of occasions, that in the education, there are usually agenda. All right. Let's say a Western educational system have the agenda that might, of course, that can work for them, which is perfectly fine, but that might not be in the interest of other people. When you are trying to indigenalize that idea, what are you supposed to do to make sure that your way of life is also protected, even though you are trying to modernize or westernize, or as it were? I don't know. I don't know if you can even say westernize, because that might not be the right word there.
Yeah. So the question, like I said, the question is indigenous psychology and indigenization of the concept. What does that simply mean? Is that I'm bringing a conceptual framework, okay, from a Western culture, from a Western research output, and then I'm bringing it within the fabric of the cultural system of the local people. You see that? Bringing it within the concept. Why? Because there are universal concepts that is applicable to humanity. And there are concepts that are only relevant to the indigenous community that we are talking about. And so when you now bring your ability to contextualize, just like the same thing with theology, contextual theology. So we need a contextual curriculum, and that takes a skill.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. All right. Now, coming back to, of course, the conversation of the day, which is vision and mission. Now, let's say, okay, let me use a Western society again, because that is where we have most of the people in the diaspora community, you know. So maybe in this case, we are looking at France, or it can even be in UK or US again, or Canada. That is this individual who want to embark on a personal journey. Because,
Yes.
okay, you don't have the chance to be able to grow up in Africa. You cannot just jump there all of a sudden. There are preparations that need to be made. Sometimes it can be really, it can be really evolving. Maybe you say where you are there, you want to undergo a journey, your personal journey of self-discovery, so you can find deeper meaning. What is your recommendation for an individual like that?
Yeah. The recommendation is to start with a reflective and a meditative time with yourself, asking questions about the meaning of life itself. Why are we here? You know, so you have to be introspective and reflective. And that's why we propose reflective learning. So reflection is a pathway for us to start questioning the status quo. And that will lead us to what we call emancipatory learning. The journey of that is to question the status quo, questioning things, developing your critical thinking skills and questioning the status quo. Don't be dogmatic. And there are 5 questions I use. I call it the 5 most important questions of life if you want to be on that journey. And I borrow that from the philosophy of late Dr. Miles Monroe. There are 5 questions of life. Number 1, where am I from? That is the question of origin. Why am I here? The question of purpose. What can I do? That is your potential. Okay. Where am I going? Yeah. The question of destiny. The question of destiny. The question of vision. What vision? So when you look at these questions, it helps you as a framework to start your personal journey. And in our transpersonal mental health clinic, we have a coaching approach for that. That with people to look at the 5 questions of life. Why am I here? What can I do? Where am I from? Where am I going? You see that? So those questions tells you, and for us, the foundation for self-discovery is to question your origin. If you don't know your origin, you cannot know your destination. What is your concept, your belief system about your origin? Where are you from? That's the foundation. And that question is not talking about my ethnicity origin. No, because we're all mixed up. It's talking about the origin of human existence itself. Man is a spirit. It came from eternity. Man exists beyond time and space. That is the foundation.
How easy is it for somebody to embark on this journey? Because we're talking of personal journey. I don't know if you even want to talk more about reflective learning, because I think that is a concept that people might need to understand more.
Yes.
Is anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a professional coach. So my first master's in MSc coaching, psychology from University of East London. And that's why I was baptized into the concept, the philosophy of coaching. And as you know, that coaches, they use reflective questioning. And the goal of reflective questioning is to elicit thinking on behalf of the coachee or the client. And so reflection, it's like when we look at about in terms of experiential knowledge, experiential learning. So learning can only take place after reflection. I will say it again. You can only learn from an experience after reflection. So I go through an experience and then I reflect on that experience, and there are many reflective framework and models that we use, Keon and all that we use, when we teach students. Yeah. but it is a very personal development framework for our life. Sir, you are where you are today because you have gone through some reflection after you had that coma. And that reflection from that experience of two coma now leads to Obehi Podcast. What we're saying, man must constantly engage in reflective thinking. If you don't reflect, you can never grow. You remain the same.
This is powerful. You see,
Thank you, sir.
a couple of years ago, I interviewed the Nigerian ambassador to Italy because, okay, he visited the city of Verona. We organized a visit that he came and he visited the people and all of that. So in the course of the interview, I was asking him, because I'm always asking questions about the Nigerian situation because that can never leave my mouth.
Mhm.
So I was asking
Of
him,
course.
why are Nigerians not able to focus on the real things? Because in Nigeria, most of the time, we don't focus on the real thing. We are just talking about the bubble. This is what is happening today and all of that. But there are fundamental questions that we need to answer in Nigeria. Then I was asking
Yeah.
him, you are an ambassador. Why are we just running around? And he told me something that I actually reflected on. That when you are running, you don't think, you don't reflect. For you to think, you need to sit down, cool-headed. You can think. And you look at Nigeria, like if you were somewhere in the space and you are looking at Nigeria the way they are, we are just like this. We are on a survivor mode.
That's it.
When we are in that mode, we'll even not be able to see something that is very close to us. Because the image, as you are moving, if I put this image in my eyes, this image is very close to me. As I'm moving, this image is also moving. Which means I am losing the reality of what is even here, very close to me. For me to be able to really picture this, I need to be fixed. I need to really observe it very well. And I also think that nature have given us everything to learn from, because we are not the first to be here. No. This land need to be here before we can be here. Which means we are sitting on something. We are also sitting on our heritage. We have the birds, we have the lions, we have the water. The water alone is an embodiment of knowledge that we can study. How does it work? Why?
We have been mentally conditioned, my brother. Oh dear. There is a mental conditioning that environment has influenced us. And with due respect, poverty has played a major role. You see that? We are in a survival mode all the time to meet the basic needs. So we operate from a need base. Our motivations are based on need. You see that? Even the theology that we are fed in Africa, in third world, was based on need. So the God that was introduced to us was the God that meets my need, not the God of my self-discovery. I rest my case.
Thank you so much for that. I'm happy that you are saying that, and I think people really need to pay attention. I am really paying attention to that thing. I read a book by Dabisa Moyo. That is a couple of years ago. Dabisa Moyo, I think he called it Eight Kid. That was when I was writing my book, how under development in Africa, my hands are clean. Because I'm looking at the responsibility of the African people. This is what have happened to them, what is happening to them, and what can also happen to them. Of course, happen to us. That until we take responsibility, this will never change. Of course, taking responsibility now would mean that you are accepting that it depends on you. You are accepting that nobody is going to come. If America decides to intervene, oh, good. But in our plan, we're not going to put American in it. America is not part of the plan of saving African people. If they decide to help, okay, that is good, but they are not part of the plan. If we don't draw out the plan like this, we will fail. Because we depend on, we will think that European will help us. The European, you don't have no plan for us. The only plan they have for us is how they can exploit better. Because it is natural. How many times have the lion have to organize a meeting and then invite the antelope to say, tell us how we can help you? It doesn't work.
I mean, it's an interesting, very sensitive issue that you just touched. You use the word responsibility. Responsibility. Last night we had a workshop in our faculty of biblical psychology. We're looking at trauma, religious trauma, and I said one thing about the principle of responsibility, and it's from the law of life. What is that law? The law of decision. When you make a decision, it has automatic consequence. Your decision takes you to a destination. Within your decision, it is also as an inherent judgment. When I make a decision, I give you an example. Your diet is bad. You put food in your mouth, you swallow it. Nobody forces that food in your mouth. You are what you eat. That's a decision. Okay. So if I'm going to change my life, I change my diet. I change what I put into my mouth. Now, there is a spirit called the spirit of irresponsibility. And this is theology now, that came from the fall of man in the Garden of Eden. And that spirit is what is operating, not just in the diaspora or not in the third world. It is a humanity thing. That people become irresponsible and they blame external forces, they blame third party for their predicament. So you're not talking about Africa now. Now, I'm going to say something that may sound controversial right now. We have been colonized. Beautiful. But we are still blaming the colonial master for our decision. Sir, it takes a decision to go into bondage. It takes a decision to be emancipated. Since our political independence, what are we doing with our resources? Then we are still blaming the colonial master. No, it is spirit of irresponsibility, sir. And religion has done a bad job because religion has made us to become mentally lazy, that we do what is called spiritual bypassing, using spiritual excuses to face our emotional and our developmental issues, sir. Do you see that? Taking responsibility for your life is the first stage of emancipation. That's it.
Thank you so much for that. I think we need more of this message. When we come to understand that it depends on us, many people like the escapism, where you easily say, okay, no, you can see, wait, it's not my fault. Well, you can say that if you are not mature. As a child, that is a good excuse. But when you are mature, you need to know that you need to take responsibility for, if you want the situation to change, you need to take responsibility for the change, which is the decision and the result that we are talking about, though. Because you cannot pretend that somebody else is going to do it.
No, sir. You are talking about vision and mission, and you share your background. Father died at the age of 2. Sir, my father died at the age of 1. I was raised by a widow. There was nothing. There was struggle. My mom and my late grandma of blessed memory, they did a good job. Then I look at my environment. There was lack. I could have sat down and I said, oh, there's no future for me. You see there, I could give excuse. My father died at the age of 1, raised by a widow. There's lack in my environment, which is what most of us are doing in the third world. So you can give excuse. You can give in to the limitation of your external environment. But this is where vision comes in. When you receive a vision, and that's why I said vision is purely spiritual. That vision gives you hope above the limitation of your environment. And then you now begin to become, you now make a mission, you take a decision that I'm going into that vision, despite the fact of the challenges and the setback. You now use that setback as your motivation to overcome obstacle. See where you are today. See where I am today. I was not born with a silver spoon.
That is so
Take
true.
responsibility. Yeah, my brother, I read my book. They call me bookworm because I discovered I had no opportunity except this book. Education was the escape from poverty for me. So nobody taught me. I will go to the library. I will go and read without exam. I bury myself into reading. See where I am today by the grace of God.
That is important. It's important that all the resources are here. What we do with it is up to us.
Thank you.
It's depend entirely up to us because I want to repeat again, nature is not going to lose.
No.
It is up to
No.
us. All right.
No.
Now let's talk about the consequence.
Yeah.
When people don't find their mission in life, if they don't know where they are going, therefore,
Yeah.
what does that mean? What is the consequence of that?
Wow. I will use the philosophy of the Torah from biblical psychology. Say, where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Another one said, where there is no vision, the people lose the sense of direction. When a man has no vision, he will abuse his time, his body, and the resources. And that's what happened. Abuse of time, the resources, and opportunity when there is no vision. That is a major consequence.
Thank you so much for that. Now, within the transpersonal psychology,
Yes.
what is your proposal for people to have vision?
The proposal, I will come from the A concept, Ifa concept of predestination. If I talk about Olodumare, Ori, it talk about Ori, that Ori came to this world with a mission. That mission is the foundation of your vision. You have a destiny. You are not here by experiment. No, you are not here by chance. You are a child of design. The intelligent designer designed your life. Every cell in your body were carefully selected to fit your purpose. You are a perfect product for your assignment.
Thank you so much for that. I so much appreciate that. I so much appreciate that. You see, when people look at their situation, what have happened to them, and all of that, they will find more than a million reasons why they shouldn't change, why everything will remain the same. Not like you were saying, oh, my father died, I was 1 year old, I was raised by a widow, I live in a poor neighborhood. There is enough evidence to show that you can never move anywhere, no? What can't you see? Can't you see everything is bad? Can't you see Nigeria is a bad country? Can't you see that everybody is corrupt? But what if that is a thinking, a prompt? What if you could see that you are the light? Everywhere is dark. Because you see, if you light a lamp where everywhere is already bright, there is no use for that lamp. But light that lamp where everywhere is dark. Now that lamp suddenly becomes very useful.
Yeah.
So that if everybody is corrupt, you are equally corrupt, that is what is the essence? You are just a number. I live in Italy. When I came here, I made a very critical situation in that why am I doing what I'm doing today? Because I decided to do this.
Yes.
I could have done many other things. Like, for example, like what many Nigerians have done here. Of course, I'm not saying every Nigerian is a bad person, but I know there was some crooked way that I could have also get it into. But one day, a guy told me, he's another Nigerian, of course. He told me, Peter, Obehi, I'm also called Peter. If you are not getting into trouble because you think the police will catch you, that is why you are not doing it, you mean you are a bad person. It's just you haven't had the chance to do that.
The opportunity to do it.
Yeah. But there is another way to reframe this, which is you know that it is wrong. That is why you are not doing it. You have nothing to do with whether the police will catch you or not. Of course, I mean, okay, you know that this is a story of Nigerians in Italy are very famous. You have the issue of drug peddling. A lot of people are into that. You have the issue of prostitution. People are into that. You, as a young woman, you could say, well, I'm not into prostitution, not because the police will arrest me for that. I know that it is wrong. That you have value. So I was saying at the time, let me tell a little bit of my story too. This is important. When I came here, on the very first day that I come to Italy, of course, by that time, I've already published my first book in Nigeria. I just finished secondary school. I published this book. People were happy. But of course, okay, in my little neighborhood there, we don't see a lot of people that are writers, no? Because I chose to do this. I said I was going to be a writer. In fact, in my secondary school age, usually teachers will come and gather the children and say, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? They ask me, I say, I want to be a writer. The geography teacher was looking at me, but you want to study? I said, I want to be a writer because that is what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I published this book. When I was coming to Italy, coming to Europe, I got a copy of it. I got a few copies of it with me. So that any person I am meeting, I'm telling the person I am a writer, this is my book.
Yeah.
So when I was in Torino, because that was where actually I came down, then I went to meet some people there. I showed them my book. They look at it and say, but why did you come to Italy? You should have gone to places like maybe London or America. That is where you will be somebody. You come here, you are going to end up in jail. It's my first day in Italy. Then I told them, well, I'm not going to end up in jail. I am going to write another book here in Italy too. In fact, I'm going to write a book in Italian language. They were looking at me and they were laughing at me. Now, I'm saying that I am doing this thing now. I'm taking a decision that I'm living by. Of course, I know that by taking this road, it's going to be slow for me. I'm not going to be able to get all the flashy car, get all the money like them. But it's okay for me because, another thing also that I learned is that I could go to jail for what I'm doing. But I'm prepared to do that than be caught on the street selling drugs. Because I'm not prepared to go to jail for that. It's too low for me. Because it have happened that I've had the chance to be able to get involved in those things. But what stopped me, because now remember, I don't have document, I don't have work, I don't have any resources to survive by. So of course you will have the offer coming from are you that stupid? Why don't you just do like every other person? And I asked then I asked myself, am I willing to go for that? I can't do that. I'm prepared to suffer.
Because what you did, what stopped you is reflection. That's it. So you reflected, okay? What am I going to do? The consequence of this path. If I take this path, there's a destination. Then you reflected, and based on your value system, it stopped you. And this is my core value. And that is this principle of value system and reflection has nothing to do with culture or religion. It is a universal principle. I reflect to think about the consequence of my decision, because my decision will take me to a destination. That is it. Nothing will change that. For my Christian people, they will take a decision, and the next thing they will be praying to God to eliminate the consequences. I say you are joking. That is the spirit. That is the spirit of irresponsibility, my brother. What do you think God is? You take a decision, and then you are asking God to eliminate the consequence of the decision. No, the moment you take a decision, that decision will take you to a destination. And in that decision, there is pain and there is joy in it, because every decision has inherent judgment. So God is not the one judging you. Satan is not the one judging you. It's a principle of life. Your decision will lead to happiness or sadness. It's a choice. What does the Bible say? It said, this day have I put before you life and death, blessing and curses. In our advisor, he said, choose life that you may live.
This is so beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to touch on the question of here again, just in Esan tradition or African philosophy. Let me put it like this. No, okay, I'm not a philosopher. You are an expert in this, but at least with the little that I understand, no? Which is, of course, I think it is different between the Judeo-Christian understanding and the African understanding of life. Okay, that judgment day for us doesn't exist. The Father at the end of life, you are going to sit down and you will be judged, does not exist. God also is not going to punish you because everything's already set up. But your evil, your deed is going to punish you. But what is even happening here? What is happening is that there is a destination. There is a place you are going. And remember, you said something very important in the last episode, that we are gods. That is really what it is. But we are always moving to become a higher version of it, which is all our existence. It can take thousands of years of reincarnation. We're always moving to become a better part of that. So that if you do anything that is good, you move higher. If you do anything that is bad, you move lower. It is not God now that is going to take you up because he wants to reward you. Or so. The level is already set up. so that your evil is punishing you. It's not God. So that you are going to pray to God to remove the obstacle of the way, you are wasting time. What you need to do is to do what is right. Know what is right. Because in your consciousness, the component that make out of you, everything is there for you to be able to know what is right from what is wrong. If you say you don't know what is wrong, how many times have you taken a cutlass and start cutting yourself? Why cut another person and say you don't know that it is bad? You should know that.
I mean, what you're saying is in psychology, we call it the psychology of deception. The psychology of deception. Yeah. And that is one of the plague that has ravaged humanity. We live in self-denial. And again, that is another thing that happened in religion. Spiritual bypassing. You want to escape from the reality of your situation. You know you are overweight. You need to lose weight. What are you going to do? You are praying. No, you take pragmatic physical decision. Because man is tripartite. You are a spirit, you have a soul, you have a body. And in those three domains, you have to take decisions that will affect those three domains. You understand? And so when it comes, and now when it comes to hey now and destiny, if you don't find from your A, your Eleda, your Isheda, your predestination, and if you don't ask that your Eleda, your hey, why you are here, you will be experimenting with your life, and then you are going toward depression. You must find out from your hey, why I'm here. Your hey, your Eleda, your Isheda, your Ori tells you the job you are supposed to do, your career you are supposed to fulfill. If you don't ask and then you make a decision, which most people do based on the monetary gain, they look for a job that brings money. Now they have the money in the bank. They don't have the fulfillment. That's it. And they are experimenting. And that is what humanity is doing. And that's what the education philosophy has conditioned us to look for a job, not to ask our A, why are we here? Is this job in alignment with my hey? Sir, this is very fundamental. If any decision, your career decision is outside your A, is outside your Eledumare, Eleda, Isheda, you will not be fulfilled. That is fundamental.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm also very happy that we're able to bring in this different dimension to it because, of course, this is where we are coming from. This is our heritage. When I talk of Ehi, okay, you see, my name is Obehi. You see, that is very important for me because at the point I need to reflect Obehi, Obo, Ehi. There are two things there, no? It is my understanding of the Ehi that helped me to understand the Obo because the Ehi comes before the Obo. These are, I'm so happy that I'm doing this. I am fulfilled about it.
Yeah.
Now, I want to conclude the conversation citing one person that I've interviewed here. This is of Igbo extraction of Nigeria, because I'm very happy to talk about our tradition, our belief system, our spirituality of different African. So he was telling me, if the gods send a blind man to the battle, the blind man is supposed to win as a blind man do. Which is like what you were saying before, no? That you don't need to complain of the things around you. Everything is given to you. Go the way you are supposed to do, not the way other people do. Because if you go the way other people do, you are going to lose because you are not other people.
Yes.
You are a unicorn. You are special. Every part of the specimen that was put together to create you is perfect. Each one of us is the perfect specimen that nature can produce.
Yes.
But it would be wrong if we waste it, just try to live the life of other people.
Exactly.
We're supposed to live the best that we can, because in Esan spirituality, in African spirituality, you are in a perpetual mission to becoming a better version of yourself. You are in the upward move. Do the best so you go up. If you do bad, you go down. You are the one that is moving yourself or moving yourself. Do what, you are supposed to know. Do what is right.